Of course, to my fellow public servants, you're probably around the area, the room, our partners from the private sector, and to the organizers behind this summit, and to all of you, to each and everyone who got out of bed very early on a Friday morning to be with us today. Kudos sa inyong lahat, kahit medyo baka inaantok-antok pa po tayo. And to everyone, maraming salamat for being here at magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. It is my privilege to open the 2025 Cyber Revolution Summit. I welcome this moment with pride, but more importantly, with responsibility, knowing that all of us are gathered here today as professionals, not just in our respective fields, but as stewards of our nation's digital future. As someone who has devoted much of his work to advancing privacy and data protection, I am grateful to be part of this platform. One that dares to tackle the biggest questions in tech governance today. This summit is both timely and necessary as we continue to navigate the complex interplay between privacy, security, innovation, risk, and trust. This year's theme, Empowering the Philippines' Digital Future, Strengthening Cybersecurity and Innovation in the Age of Technology, challenges us to ask a vital question. Does privacy and security still matter in an increasingly digital world? As you may know, we live in an age where technology enables so much, so very quickly. With just a tap or a prompt, we can all reach our loved ones across the globe. Stream events in real time, access knowledge from everywhere, or become multilinguals through the use of AI-powered translation systems. Truly, we have allowed a great transition, this great transition in this new world we live in, consisting of an incredibly diverse set of everyday technologies, from your mobile phones, your laptops, and to the different forms of technologies we use in our everyday lives. We've already fully embraced digital transformation in many ways. And truth be told, we've become inseparable from it. As reflected by the findings of the US National Institute of Standards and Technology, common to you guys as NIST, we now live in a world embedded with smart systems, data-driven services, and constant global connectivity. Indeed po, we now carry the world in our pockets, literally, our phones, and figuratively. And this transformation that we are seeing is not just technical. Think about it. It is very personal. It has redefined how we connect, how we work, how we learn, and more importantly, how we express ourselves. But as we become more connected, we also become more exposed. And most of the time, if you think about it, this exposure isn't reckless. It is necessary. Why? Because we share data not just to keep up with trends, but to participate in modern life. Simply to be seen, to sell, to advocate, to create, or to live. So the question becomes, how do we remain visible without becoming vulnerable? How do we protect what is personal while embracing the power of digital transformation? Cybersecurity and data privacy are no longer niche concerns reserved for IT teams or compliance units. They are now really the core pillars of our modern society. It is essential as our roads, bridges, or power grids. This is our reality. This is now our lived reality. And the truth is, digital infrastructure requires trust to function, but more than that, trust is required so it becomes sustainable. And trust begins with how we protect our data. From a privacy perspective, the conversation goes beyond confidentiality or access controls. It is about understanding that behind every data point that represents you, a person, a life, a story, a history, a future. That's why data protection is not merely a legal requirement, it is a social imperative, just like cybersecurity. The latest updates to NIST cybersecurity and privacy frameworks do not whisper, rather it declares, trust is no longer a luxury. It is the very bedrock upon which our digital future must stand. Hindi na po natin afford to stand on systems that treat privacy and cybersecurity as afterthoughts. These two must be built into the DNA of every platform, process, and innovation. Because without trust, every breakthrough is brittle. And without trust, the future collapses before it begins. And this is for the mindset that we must have. Not tomorrow, not soon, but now. If we want to build a digital world worthy of the people it's meant to serve. So to all institutions represented here today, as you build faster and smarter systems, build them with responsibility. As you innovate, design with dignity. Let us not view data protection and cybersecurity as a compliance hurdle, but as a commitment to the people who trust us with their information. Dito po sa atin, here in the Philippines, this commitment is especially urgent. We are one of the most engaged digital societies in the world. Who doesn't love social media here in the Philippines? We embrace trends, and we are quick to adapt to the latest technology. I consider that not as a flaw, but rather as a strength. But of course, that also means that the stakes are higher. Sa amin po, at the National Privacy Commission, we stand at the forefront of this mission to protect the personal data of every Filipino citizen. And let's be real, hindi po ito madali. It's not easy. I bet some of you, or maybe all of you, your children, your nieces, or even your parents have asked for your help to download an app or to create a social media profile. In fact, I was just reviewing my messages, my exchange of messages with my dad on my way to the hotel today. And last Thursday, he texted me. Sabi na sa akin, Nick is my nickname in my family. Paano ba mag-download ng Telegram and WhatsApp? My dad is 83 years old. They're all based in the US. So I responded, why? Sabi niya sa akin, kasi yun na daw ang gagamitin nilang magbabarkada para mag-usap. Can you imagine? They're all in their 70s or 80s, yung grupo po ng tatay ko dito sa Pilipinas. And they're going to use Telegram or WhatsApp. So, when I got this message, when I was thinking of my speech today, it made me realize that this is really the life that we live in now. This is the world that we live in now. And we must acknowledge that digital engagement has really become a part of defining our identity. Kung yung tatay ko po na 83 years old, how much more yung mga anak po natin at mga magiging anak nila in the future. And this won't stop. I personally believe that there is no end to this. And that is exactly why our work becomes even more critical. Kaya po sa National Privacy Commission, if mapapansin niyo po, we've doubled down on responsible innovation. This year, we launched a privacy complaint hotline in partnership with the DICT, offering faster access to redress mechanisms. We also issued a guidance on privacy-enhancing technologies, recognizing the need to embed ethics in sectors like health, finance, and insurance. We've also just released our circular on body-worn cameras, and we are going to release guidance on the processing of biometric data as well as privacy engineering. Who would have thought that the words privacy and engineering would go hand in hand? More importantly, we continue to champion inclusive digital transformation. What do we mean by this? It puts people at the center, not just the system. Because digital progress means very little if it leaves people behind. Our approach must ensure that every Filipino, regardless of age, background, sexual orientation, or access to resources, can meaningfully participate in the digital world. This means designing processes in your companies or designing systems that are not only secure and efficient, but also accessible, equitable, and human-centered. Technology must serve people, not the other way around. But beyond policy, what this moment really calls for is ethics. Ulitin ko po, ethics. As AI, biometrics, and predictive analytics become more powerful, we must hold firm to one principle. Just because we can doesn't mean we should. Again, just because we can doesn't mean we should. As UNESCO reminds us, and this is one of my favorites, we must never lose sight of what technology should do, not just what it can. We must design not just for efficiency, but for dignity, agency, trust, and accountability. Or, easy to remember, data. Again, we must design with the use of personal data with data. Dignity, agency, trust, and accountability. That's why summits like this are very important. Because the people in this room, kayo po, your CIOs, CISOs, policy architects, technologies, and thought leaders, hindi lang po kayo participants. You guys are actually culture setters. You shape how your organizations think about risk, trust, and responsibility. So let's be clear. Privacy and cybersecurity can no longer live in silos. They are not the burden of one team, but rather they are the responsibility of all. And of course, in the spirit of international cooperation, let us go beyond dialogue. Let us commit to collective actions. Alam niyo po, the threats we face in the cyberspace, hindi naman po sila, they don't recognize borders. And you guys very well know this. Malware, they don't need a visa. Ransomware, hindi naman po yan tinitigilan o pinapatigil sa ating customs, sa ating immigration borders. This is why we must build bridges across nations, industries, and sectors to develop resilient, privacy and security-centric infrastructures that can stand against both current and future threats. As you may all know, the cyber battlefield is evolving every day, growing more complex, more covert, more coordinated. And so, our response must be equally agile, equally intelligent, and equally united. Let me close with this thought. The cyber revolution isn't coming. Nandito na po yung cyber revolution. It is in your homes, it is in our homes, our schools, our companies, our institutions. It is reshaping economies, our behavior, and it has redefined what it means to be secured. Dati, ang security lang na gusto natin ay sa mga relasyon natin. That's no longer the case. We demand security in every aspects of our lives. But you know, amid this transformation, the real question isn't just about how we adapt. It's how we lead. And how do we lead through this revolution? Do we lead with fear or hesitation? Or should we lead with foresight, courage, and principle? This summit, please remember, is not just about exchanging insights. It's about forming alliances and building a shared vision. We must reimagine cybersecurity not as a line of defense, but as a launchpad for innovation, foundation of trust, and guardians of our rights and freedoms in the world that we live in today. Let us remember that many years from now, your children, our children, will measure the strength of our digital future not by the sophistication of our platforms or tools, rather by its integrity, how we build it, the values we embed in those systems, and more importantly, us, the people that we empower. So let's use this day well and wisely, and of course, let's make it count. Maaga po tayong gumising lahat today. Maraming salamat and welcome to the 2025 Cyber Revolution Summit. Mabuhay po tayong lahat. Thank you.
Once again, thank you so much. Kindly stay on stage and be at the middle, please, because